Hey everybody, KC here. So I'm in Palm Desert, California at the Western Association of Food Chains, WAFC annual convention. And this is one of my favorite places to go because I learn a ton, not just from the presentations, but just from the opportunity to network with really, really smart and engaged people representing a lot of Western US retailers and suppliers. It's just an absolutely great event. If you've never been, I totally recommend it. You know, one of the interesting things they do is they do these town halls, and they're basically an hour long, and it's an opportunity for some of the retailers who are members of WAFC to come and lay out for audiences their strategies, their tactics, where they are at the moment, where they expect to be going forward. And they're not giving out proprietary information because their competitors can be in the audience. Frankly, people like me are in the audience, so they're not going to say anything too proprietary, but it is a really interesting window on some of these companies' operations. On Sunday, as I record this, I've just come from the Albertsons town hall, and I was really looking forward to this one because I figured, well, you know, Albertsons is going to have a lot to talk about. They've had quite a year, and I was surprised by the fact that they really didn't talk about the year past in terms of some of the, you know, the collapse of the Kroger deal, for example. They didn't even acknowledge that in their presentations. Basically, they talked about how great things are. They talked about innovation, in-store, e-commerce, delivering customer growth. And it all sounded really, really good, which is a little surprising since this is a company where CEO Vivek Sankaran said not that long ago that they could not survive as an entity without the Kroger deal, that they'd have to close stores, lay people off, maybe even sell off divisions. That's not the message they were sending here today. Part of the problem is the audience was full of suppliers, and many of them were suppliers who got an email from Albertsons saying, hey, listen, don't send us any price increases because of tariffs, okay? Basically, they expect their suppliers to take it in the shorts, and it never would have come up if somebody in the audience hadn't asked about tariffs. It's not just me that's surprised by that and frankly is annoyed with Albertsons. These are suppliers who are saying, hey, listen, you know, they're defining partnership, they're defining conversation in a way that is foreign to us. You know, again, you know, when they talked about tariffs, when they were questioned, well, they weren't quite as dogmatic as they were in the email, but they keep talking about we would need to have a conversation. But based on that email, it's going to be a one-way conversation. It's interesting. I asked around because I didn't really trust my instincts on this, and I was curious what other people thought. I wondered, should Albertsons have started out by acknowledging what's happened in the year just past? And the overwhelming answer I got from people I was talking to here was yes, they totally should have. They should have started out by saying, hey, listen, we're here now, but this is not the situation we expected. We have a lot of work to do. The work moves forward, but we recognize that we have to deal with the situation now and some competitive realities that we didn't think we were going to have to deal with just a year ago. And we're going to need your support going forward in trying to do that. They talked about their, you know, it was in their financial report, their $4 billion EBITDA, but they didn't really talk about investing that in price, which surprised me and some other people as well. There are people who think they'd have to invest that entire $4 billion in prices to get their prices to where they need to in terms of being competitive. See, to me, it's really interesting. It's like they're telling two stories. And the presentation we saw today was like an investor presentation. This is why you should invest in the company. But the other story, it's a very different story than the one that they should be telling suppliers. I think they should be rallying them around, and if they want vendors to give them a break on price and costs and things like that, and work with them and compromise, well, you don't tell them how great things are. You don't tell them how much money you have and how much money you're making. I think you have to tell them a different story. But of course, that's Albertsons' problem in other places as well, right? They have an investor story, but then they're going before the courts looking for relief as they sue Kroger over the collapsed deal, and they're talking about how terrible things are. It's two different stories, and they don't really coalesce. You know, it's interesting. One of the things they did before the session started is the folks from the Albertsons Media Collective, and they're doing their, you know, retail media network. They were passing out these sunglasses, right? And it's partially they want people to wear them tonight at the thing. And I'll talk about their retail media network at another time. But it was fascinating, and it struck me as ironic as they're handing out these glasses, but they should have been rose-colored because that's what the presentation was like. Anyway, that's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.